Honorable Minister Dr. Mark Bagabe, the Executive Director, African Agricultural Technology, Dr. Canisius Kanagire, members of the press present today, good afternoon once again. My name is George Achia. I am the Communications Officer at AATF. We are glad to be joined for this press briefing by our two speakers whom I've just mentioned their name. This is going to be very short. We'll have an opening statement from each of them, with the Minister focusing on the agricultural transformation journey at Rwanda and what this particular meeting AGAT means to the country, while the Executive Director AATF will talk broadly about the theme of this conference, what next-gen agricultural solution means for African farmers. So we'll allow them each to make a welcoming statement, 5 minutes each, and thereafter you'll be able to, engage them on this particular topic. So without much further ado, I would want to give this opportunity to the Executive Director AATF to make his statement, and thereafter the Minister will speak. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Members of the press, good afternoon. Across Africa, agriculture remained the cornerstone of livelihoods, employing over 60% of the population and contributing significantly to the GDP in many African countries. However, African farmers, particularly smallholder farmers, continue to grapple with long-standing and emerging challenges, including declining fertility, limited access to quality inputs, climate variability, pests and diseases, inefficient markets, and inadequate extension services. In this context, next-gen agricultural technology solutions refer to the latest generation of science-driven innovations designed to respond directly to these complex and evolving challenges. These include improved seed varieties such as drought-tolerant, pest resistance, and high-yielding varieties, climate-smart practices, digital agriculture tools, precision farming technologies, agri-biotech solutions like GM and gene editing, and mechanization innovations that improve productivity and efficiency across the value chains. For African farmers, the promise of next-generation technologies lies in increased productivity, reduced costs and losses, market access and income growth, youth engagement, food security and nutrition. And these are very key issues and challenges which need to be addressed across countries of this continent. Yet, the adoption of these innovations require an enabling ecosystem, strong policies, regulatory frameworks, investment in research and infrastructure, public-private partnerships, and targeted capacity building for farmers. AATF plays a pivotal role in bridging the gaps between technology development and farmer adoption by facilitating access, partnerships, and commercialization pathways that ensure these solutions reach the hands of those who need them most, our farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, we gather here because of the ACAT, the foremost forum dedicated to game-changing agricultural technologies, ideas and policies that drive agricultural transformation across the continent. The conference serves as a platform for technology transfer, promoting innovative and practical solutions to catalyze a more efficient, inclusive, and resilient agricultural sector in Africa. It will bring together government representatives, industry leaders, policymakers, technical experts, private sector institutions, farmers, women, and youth from across the globe to discuss and define actionable solutions to the persistent challenges of technology access and adoption in African agriculture. The conference also leverages the collective knowledge of stakeholders, including through roundtable discussions, to identify challenges impacting the development and use of advanced agricultural technologies. These include genetic modification, gene editing, and other biotechnology solutions. It also highlights existing gaps in policy, legislation, and institutional framework that hinder their adoption. With those few remarks, I am glad to take some few questions later on. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let me take a moment and share with you one is agricultural transformation and journey, and investment opportunities and progress that we have registered in adopting innovative agricultural solutions. So good afternoon again. One is agriculture sector has undergone a remarkable transformation over the past 20 years. As the backbone of our economy, agriculture contributes approximately 24% to the national GDP and employs over 60% of the population, with the smaller border farmers forming the bulk of this workforce. Guided by successive national development strategies, particularly Strategic Plan for Agricultural Transformation, PSTF4, and the National Agricultural Policy, Rwanda has prioritized agriculture as a vehicle for inclusive growth, food and nutrition security, poverty reduction, and job creation. A cornerstone of this transformation has been the strategic adoption of innovative agricultural solutions to enhance productivity, build climate resilience, and modernize the entire value chain. Some of the progress that we have registered to date include widespread use of improved seed varieties, including drought-tolerant and high-yielding crops suited to Rwanda's diverse agroecological zones. Expansion of irrigation infrastructure, particularly small-scale irrigation, to reduce reliance on rain-fed agriculture. These you can see across the whole country. We look at this. And then increased mechanization and agro-processing, supported by public-private partnerships that enable value addition and market competitiveness. Deployment of digital tools and platforms to deliver extension services, access to information, and facilitate financial inclusion for our farmers without any discrimination. Promotion of climate smart agricultural practices to mitigate the impact of climate change while preserving our natural resources. So this journey has positioned Rwanda as a continental model in leveraging science, technology, and innovation
to drive agricultural growth. It is a journey rooted in a strong political will, institutional reforms, and a commitment to farmer-centric approaches. With the foundations firmly in place, Rwanda is now focusing on scaling up investment across priority areas, including agri-tech solutions. These cover startups and technology providers whom we're inviting to partner in digitizing agriculture and building smart farming systems. Seed systems and biotechnology is another area where we see investment opportunities. So there's an opportunity to co-invest in research, dissemination, and distribution of quality seeds, irrigation and mechanization. In this area, demand remains very high for affordable, climate resilient technologies to improve water use and farm operations. Then we also want to get investors. The opportunities here in agro-processing and value addition, where one offers incentives for investment in agro-processing infrastructure, cold chains, and logistics. We have another interesting area that I really want to touch on: youth and women in agribusiness. So here we need inclusive finance. We have covered this. Then incubation and mentorship programs for youth-led women, and women-led agribusiness into to grow in Rwanda. This also covers risking agriculture, making sure that banks are ready to put money in agriculture. So we have put systems in place for being able to cover agriculture. That's plant insurance, livestock insurance, and this has actually increased banks creating trust in agriculture as a sector that they can invest in. I think for those of you who are in the room, one of the managing directors of one of the banks, the regional banks, said that their 30% portfolio is actually for agriculture. So hosting the ACAT 2025 is both a recognition of Rwanda's leadership and a strategic opportunity to deepen engagement with the regional and global partners. This conference will spotlight Rwanda's progress, facilitate knowledge exchange, and unlock new investments and collaboration avenues. As the country accelerates its journey towards a knowledge-driven, market-oriented, and resilient agricultural sector, the message is very clear. Rwanda is open for innovation, for investment, and partnerships that deliver tangible results for its farmers and the broader economy. Thank you, and we are ready to take questions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister and Dr. Canisius Kanagere, for those opening remarks. Allow me to note that before you here, we have a group of journalists from different media organizations, both here in Rwanda, and also we have a representation of journalists who are joining us, outside the country from around 10 different countries, especially where AATF operates. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me therefore to now get into the Q&A question. If you have a question, just raise up your hand. There will be a mic passing around. So introduce yourself, the media organization you're representing, and kindly mention who your question is being directed to. Thanks, Ndova.
Good afternoon. My name is Daud Stoy. I'm from Mozambique. I work in Noticias newspaper. This is the main newspaper in our country. Firstly, I have two questions to AATF and one to the Minister of.
So let me try to be as brief as possible. On the GMO, I would say non-technical stuff, and then the expert will talk about the technical if need be. First, this question comes as a result of concerns that sometimes I have failed to understand where they come from. Genetic modification is a natural change. After when you say GMO, that's genetically modified. So it's a natural process. We are all products of natural change. That's why none of us resembles the other. And you never even resemble your progeny or those who come from you. Second, we have consumed genetically modified crops for many years, for more than 30 years. At least I know here. Corn, maize, for those of you who have more than 30 years, you consumed it here. Coming as aid, you travel. I understand some have come from Mozambique. You take breakfast in hotels, cornflakes, the product of the USA, and there's no labeling. You travel to the US. Have you ever seen any label that shows in breakfast when they label, they just say cornflakes. They don't tell you if they're GMO. So we've been consuming it. Person as the Minister of Agriculture, I wouldn't wish to go into the fights of business people. But my colleague will also tell you more about it. So how are we faring on the continent? I think we're faring very well. But let me not go to that. I think I would leave to him to answer that one, how many people are growing it and so on. Affordability, interaction for resilience. This was about to irrigation. Irrigation, it's one of the, actually water for us, it's one of the key agricultural inputs. When it's missing, you can't produce crops, either rain-fed or irrigation. And so that's why we have been working to make it affordable and reaching as many people. Actually, that's what the fourth question was about. It was about irrigation infrastructure that we've seen across the country, but that's what the eyes can see in terms of large-scale projects. So we have what we call small-scale irrigation, so which is affordable to the farmers. We provide subsidy for that, 50%, and then the farmer pays 50% to make sure that farmers can go to irrigate during dry season. Where there's no water, we're encouraging, we're promoting water harvesting. At least there is no single season when the rains will fail 100%. We shall get some rains, but water just runs away. So by harvesting water, then people can be able to grow their crops. So with that subsidy system, it's affordable, and we encourage people to go for small scale, especially when the land is not so big. But let me go to the first question of my colleague from Mozambique on cooperation with Mozambique. Yes, we are in partnerships. Our cooperation doesn't stop only to security. In terms of the military, our cooperation actually is open. When we talk of expanding into agriculture, in Mozambique, that's a part of security as well. When we talk of food security, we talk of nutrition security. We are all here we can able to pick these mics and talk because we have had our breakfast. So we believe that is, so in Rwanda we always look at security in totality, where we're not only looking at military but also at food, giving access to the food infrastructure. And I'm sure if you haven't seen the engineers who the road construction, we'll see them very, very soon if they're not there. But I'm sure they're there. Road infrastructure, school, construction, and so on. So our cooperation is open to all sectors. So there was a question from the media, the East Africa Media Group. What is lacking for farmers to adopt technologies? Let me first start from a positive standpoint that actually farmers have adopted a number of technologies. That's why we are not fully secure. 3 years ago, 17% of our households, only 17% were food secure. But the recent surveys showed that we are now at 83%. So that change, that positive change, is a result of adopting climate smart varieties, using inputs that promote productivity. And so I would say that farmers are adopting, but of course we still have some work to do, particularly with the extension system. We have to make sure that farmers are receiving proper advisory and inputs are reaching farmers at the right time. That actually can be one of the challenges that we have to circumvent and ensure that adoption of new technologies does reach farmers very quickly. We have adopted as Rwanda use of digital platforms to ensure that information gets to farmers, for example, on markets, on weather forecast, so they can be able to plot in the real time. So all these digital tools are really helping us to be able to reach farmers. So that's adoption. Spraying, this is called pest control, using drones. If you stay in Rwanda for a bit longer, you don't stay here, we should be able to see them when crops are in season. So farmers are actually adopting technologies. Accountability. So I think she's saying to us there shouldn't be a mere talk. You could be having a point. I want to agree with you. I have been to some meetings and then you find year in, year out, people are probably talking about the same thing. But in this particular case, I would say that we are convening this meeting. This is the second edition of ACAT. But if you go to the stands, the exhibition stands, you will see the technologies that have come as a result of interventions by AATF and many other institutions that are represented there, showing that actually we are really talking about what is happening. So that's the form of accountability that I can talk about. Then I think what we are learning from here is to see new technologies and adopt them. And farmers are becoming more and more intelligent, especially when they embrace digital technology. So that helps them to be able to take technologies, and then that's the level of accountability that I can talk about. So the evidence is there. They are showing what is already on the market. So I think there was a question on irrigation system. I think I touched on it. Where are we? Let me start with where we have come from. It was in Rwanda. Ikibazo cyabajijwe ngo mu bijyanye no kuhira tugeze hehe kandi turifuza kugana hehe, nuko niko nacyumvise. Icya mbere kamanza mvuge aho tuvuye kuri zero. Kuhira ntabwo rwose byari umuco, byari bizwi. Imvura yaragwaga amazi akigendera, ayo kumureka yari ayo kunywa, ntabwo yari ayo kuhira imyaka, cyane cyane ku buso bunini. Ariko iyo ibibazo bije akenshi bitewe no gutekereza tukaza ibisubizo. Ibibazo byaraje, hari impinduka y'ibihe, ikirere bituma dutangira gutekereza ko twashobora kuba twahangana n'ibyo bibazo by'ihinduka ry'ibihe. Niyo mpamvu rero ibyo nawe wavuze wabonye biriya byo mwatubwiye ni ubuso bunini cyane. Hagabiro hari hegitari zigera ku 600 zimaze guhingwa, warabibonye mwagezeyo. Turashaka kongera ibindi bihumbi 10. Iyo nicyo faze ya kabiri cyangwa se icyiciro cya kabiri. Muvumo papa Sidamu wavuze neza ari ibihumbi hafi 10. Mwavuze nasho hari 1200 hafi. Hari n'ibita Mpanga nayo itari hafi 600. Hari n'indi none ya 400 iri hafi aho ngaho. Hari na Mahama yo twita 1, 2, 3 naho hagera ku bihumbi hafi 4. So nakazi gakomeza kuba dufite n'ibyanya biri mu mazi byo twita mushrooms, nabyo tugenda dutunganya. Kera wasanga bihingwamo ari urufunzo cyangwa se bihingwamo ibihingwa mu by'ukuri bigira umusaruro ushimishije. Aho tugana rero ni ukuvuga ko umwaka wa 2025 umwaka wa 2025, ariko muri gahunda dufite imyaka 5 y'ubuhinzi mu igenamigambi y'imyaka 5 cyangwa 2024-2029, turateganya kuzajya twongera ibihumbi 10 byo kuhira. Twari ku 72 bya hegitari, turifuza kugera ku bihumbi 132 bya hegitari mu myaka 5 iri imbere. Mu by'ukuri ni ukuvuga no kurenza ibihumbi 10 umwaka tuzongera. None dushaka kugana, ariko rwamo ni akazi kazagenda gakomeza kugeza igihe tuzabona ko ahantu hose hashobora kuhirwa hageze amazi.
So to my brother from Mozambique, before I go to the performance in countries using GMO, let me start from where we come from. So the first thing is that the farmer is facing many challenges. One of those challenges is climate change related, where the varieties that we have are very vulnerable to droughts. So, and this is a very serious threat for the agricultural sector. The second is the insects and diseases, which can also destroy almost all the crop. Having crops which are resistant to insects and diseases is very key to creating resilience to the farming sector. So now, those are the reasons why we have GMO coming in and being presented as an option to African countries, and that is why some have already adopted them. Currently, we have two crops, two value chains, which are served in GMO, and there are a number of others coming. The two value chains are maize, where we have a variety of maize GMO, which is drought tolerant, insect resistance, and when we talk of insects, we talk of stem borer, but we talk of fallen worm, one of the very destructive insect. And that has been cultivated in South Africa for more than 10 years. Currently, we have it cultivated in Nigeria. Ethiopia has approved 3 varieties recently. Mozambique is on the environmental release. We expect that soon we'll have some varieties approved and registered for use. Kenya has some varieties already approved, but blocked by a number of other issues related to court cases. We have, we have now trials being carried out by Rwanda on telomeres. Another crop is BT cowpea. This is beans. It is cultivated in West Africa, especially in Nigeria, in Burkina Faso, in Ghana. Those are the 3 countries that have already started. During the last 3 years, Nigeria has been producing BT cowpea, and last year we also launched BT cowpea in Ghana. The benefits we have is enormous, because normally, for example, the cowpea, the farmer sprays between 4 and 8 times during the 4 months for the crop development. But when they use BT cowpea, they spray only 2 times. 2 times because not only Maruca comes to eat the cowpea, there are also some other insects for which you need to protect the crop. And the productivity becomes high, and of course the expense to buying the sprays, the chemicals is reduced. BT maize is also high because the crop is protected against insect and resists the climate issues. So there are a lot of benefits. In Mozambique, we are progressing. We hope that soon we'll have a release of some varieties which will be in the hands of the farmers. For us at AATF, we are ready. As soon as the country says yes to the varieties, we will bring the seed to prime the pump. That is how we call it, to start the development. But the evolution is good. For Emmanuel, currently, I think I almost answered. Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa are the one producing. Others are just following. And the benefit we are having is quite important. Soon, in Rwanda, I hope that we'll have telomeres, which is already in South Africa and Nigeria, as I said, and being adopted in some other countries. But also we have cassava and potato, which will be protected against very devastating diseases. You have seen some images down there. So we are making progress. In terms of affordability of these technologies, we know it is affordable because AATF has the mandate to negotiate with the owners of those technologies to have them royalty-free so that the farmer, the smallholder farmer, can access them almost without extra charges. I think Honorable Minister has answered the question of the farmers coming and speaking for themselves. But what I can tell you is that ACAT is very specific on that. We want to hear from themselves, coming and saying, we need this technology, we have this challenge, and this is how the solution should be packaged. And then we have a tailor-made response. You have farmers here, and yesterday it was a farmer-centric conversation. We had farmer dialogue, and that is how we work. We want to bring technologies which respond to the needs of our farmers. To my good friend, oui, toutes ces technologies viennent nous permettre d'augmenter la productivité, d'améliorer la résilience des agriculteurs, de nous assurer que lorsqu'ils s'engagent dans la production agricole, ils ont une certaine assurance qu'ils vont avoir de bonnes récoltes parce qu'ils utilisent des technologies qui sont déjà prouvées, qui ont donné des résultats et ils sont accompagnés par des chercheurs assez chevronnés dans le domaine. Et l'adoption des technologies a donné des résultats assez satisfaisants, je dirais, dans la chaîne des valeurs du maïs, par exemple, du niébé en Afrique de l'Ouest, et nous sommes en train d'aller dans la chaîne des valeurs de manioc, dans la chaîne de valeurs de pommes de terre et beaucoup d'autres espèces. Nous sommes en train d'utiliser des technologies comme les gènes édités dans la chaîne des valeurs de sorgho, parce que ça, c'est une culture qui est très résistante aux conditions climatiques et qui peut être utilisée non seulement dans le domaine industriel, mais également dans l'alimentation et dans l'élevage. Donc, il y a une satisfaction dans l'adoption des technologies. Mais évidemment, on ne peut pas ignorer que pendant que certains pays font des progrès très remarquables, il y en a d'autres où on souffre encore de famine à cause des conflits qui ravagent ces pays-là. C'est bien malheureux, mais nous espérons que les politiques vont continuer à jouer, politique et diplomatie, vont jouer en faveur de ces pays-là pour rétablir la paix et la sécurité sur le continent africain, afin que les exemples des pays qui ont pu avancer puissent être répliqués dans ces pays qui seront à ce moment-là des pays fragiles et leur permettre d'améliorer. Je pense qu'on ne peut pas être totalement vaincu par ces conflits dans certaines poches. On a plutôt le devoir d'être encouragé par les succès que l'on met dans les pays qui avancent bien. Et avec ces progrès, j'espère également que le continent africain va travailler envers l'amélioration du commerce entre les pays, afin que les pays qui produisent plus puissent échanger avec les pays qui produisent moins et vice-versa. Merci.
Thank you.